Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys with your host, Matt Marrero, along with your other host,
Tristan Walter.
And I'm really hyped right now. And the reason why I'm hyped and you're out of breath is because we are doing I don't know why you're out of breath. We're doing Star Wars Wednesday, everyone. It's been a while. It's 2017. If you thought 2016 was bad, imagine the sequel. All right, so I love it. Everyone always loves the sequels. You know, either sequels or prequels. Either way, everyone loves them.
Speaking of which, I don't know what to call this one. It could be both.
It's actually, oh no, I can't get into that. It was a meme going around. The sequel of the prequel of the prequel of the sequel. And then it ended with Mark Hamill just, tweeting the picture and saying, so am I going to be in the next one or what? But anyway, but in all seriousness, right? So this is, we're doing Star Wars The Clone Wars movie. The movie that got a really bad rap that I'm going to defend while also agreeing with its bad rap. I'm very, it's very interesting. Because, here's the thing, right? If you're going to come to me.
Movie.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing, right? If you're going to come to me and complain about it from a storyline perspective, I think I'm right there with you. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing in the franchise because if you've been keeping up with our Star Wars Wednesdays podcast, you've understood that there are worse things in the franchise. If you've watched any of the things that we've reviewed after or before we reviewed them, I'm pretty sure you know that, the first season of Ewoks exists. Parts of Star Wars droids exist. Parts. Some of them were really good, but some parts were not. We also have, Caravan of Courage. We have the holiday special or the Christmas special. It doesn't. It's funny. There's a huge, in the U.S. there's a big thing of you call it Christmas or holidays. For Star Wars special, you just call it crap. It's just a consensus. And no one sits there and argues, is it the holiday special or is it the Christmas special? They just argue about how much eggnog they have to drink to forget. So, alcoholic eggnog to be precise. So with this installment, and I think you agree with me here, Tristan, at least on this part, this is not the worst Star Wars installment ever in the franchise's history. Visual installment, because obviously books exist, of course, a lot of stuff exists, video games. But in terms of a quote unquote movie or a special or whatever you want to refer to this as, this isn't the worst thing ever made.
No.
Now, again, from a storyline perspective, I understand why some people are going to be frustrated, but I think what makes me frustrated and a little upset is the fact that people were really shitting on this for the art style. Now, I can understand if people were saying hey man, this looks dated. The problem is, I feel like for once, okay, normally I'm the kind of person that will say, at least when it comes to making the film, I'm don't listen to Lucas. Let's just not. Don't listen. Let's put him on the phone with someone that he thinks is in charge, but it's actually a brick wall. A phone is attached to a brick wall on the other end. We didn't need that to happen, but I would prefer it to happen, right? When it comes to production stuff. But when it comes to actual interviews, let's listen to Lucas. I know he said some controversial stuff in the past, but if he's going to sit there and be this is an homage to Thunderbirds, and then reviewers going to be this looks like some shitty thing like Thunderbirds. Yes, that is the point. It's an homage. Now, I know some people could say no, but at the time you had stuff that looked better, right? Like The Incredibles. It's guess what? Lucas sat there and said, I don't want it to look like The Incredibles. I want it to look a little bit different.
Right.
So I know it might sound terrible to some because they're it sounds like he made it intentionally bad. But I feel it is different, and I really enjoy the style as a style. Now, again, I'm sure they could have done things different, and as you've mentioned, the animation got quote-unquote better, right, more appealing, I guess, to us and to many as the show went on, as it was a show and it went on. But still, man, I don't know. I look at this, and I'll say this, the backgrounds I'm not the biggest fan of. But in terms of the actual, characters moving and, their designs and everything, I really like Obi-Wan's beard and his hair.
Yeah.
Because everyone was they all look like wax figures. And I'm okay, Why is that a problem? Because they need to emote. Yes, but this isn't like, I don't know, maybe it's because I've been playing so many older video games, on Matt Beats Games from his childhood, and Matt plays PS1 demo discs, and all of our Let's Play stuff that we have on our YouTube Let's Play channel those guys play. And because of that, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, this isn't like PS1, PS2 graphics, Like, I know this was 2008. I get it. It was at a time when things looked, quote-unquote, better. But I guess maybe, I've just seen so many different styles, different kinds of animation styles, that I feel really weird saying, like, if someone says, no, this was a style choice, I feel weird saying, like, oh, it's a shitty choice. Like, I could say It's one that I don't enjoy. And I definitely do not really enjoy the backgrounds or buildings, like, it's like when you pan out or whatever. But I enjoy the character models. I really do. So, it's weird for me, and I want to hear your take on the animation style. But it feels weird because you can not enjoy it, right? And I know that you weren't the biggest fan of it, but I feel like there's a difference between saying, "Oh, I don't enjoy it," versus like, "Oh my God, it's terrible."
Yeah. Well, the animation. Well, for one thing, a lot of the people that jumped on for this project were good at what they did, but they were experimenting with something new at the time.
Yes, they were using Maya, which is actually a 3D software that they're actually made. It's very interesting because I don't believe Maya is a free software, but it is a software that you could acquire. I don't want to say fairly easily because I believe it's kind of expensive, but you can still get it and you can actually like play around with 3D models potentially of these characters if someone has released them and rigged them to work. So it's very interesting, to work in Maya or other 3D software. So it's very interesting because, I read about it and then I saw in the credits at the end they were like made with Maya. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, please keep going. Yes, they were doing something different. Clearly.
Yeah. And so
clearly.
If you've listened to any of the other casts that we've done with Star Wars, I've been basically begging Matt to get to this point finally. Just a little like sidetrack, and it was hysterical because I laughed and said, "Oh yeah, there's a pilot movie for this," and it's like I want to get to Clone Wars 2008 because it's a really amazing series. And Rebels that is ongoing right now. And then I laughed and like, oh, right, there's a pilot movie to this. And I gasped and clasped my hand over my mouth. But it was already too late. I could see Matt looking at me saying, we have to start from the beginning, Tristan. We have to start with the pilot movie.
You sent me this through text, yet you could see me looking at you.
Oh, yes. I could see your eyes
I also would like to add
into me through the phone.
By the way, last year I told Tristan, either in person or behind the scenes, whatever, oh, we're going to do the movie first, okay? And he said, okay. And then we all forgot about it because, other stuff happened and he's gone to, many different places to do archaeological digs to find dinosaur bones, aliens, crystal skulls, all that junk. And so all the hokey superstitious stuff, right? Those hokey religions. That was a reference to Han. That was not me shitting on everyone.
No match for Blaster at your side.
That was a reference to Han, everyone, please.
Yeah.
So anyway, but my point is that you knew this was coming. You had just forgotten, and I had forgotten. So I was like, yeah, Clone Wars series. And then you opened your mouth,
I know.
as you are wont to do, as I am. We're on a podcast right now. And you were like, hey, man, there's a movie. And then he fucking spends 20 minutes trying to convince me not to do a fucking movie that he brings up. Well, here's why you shouldn't do it. Because but I'm, it's not even technically canon. Tristan, is it canon? I mean, yeah. And guess what? Now we're here, and did you really regret me? Because, now upon re-examination.
No, yeah. Because now that I've watched it, because here's the point. I in no way hate this. And I do like it. I did when it came out. However, the first time that I saw this movie, I even said to you as you were, looking into details, I didn't realize that this was released in theaters. I didn't see it in theaters. I got it when it came out on DVD. after I had started watching the first season of the actual, TV series.
Okay.
So when I went back and watched this, because it's been a long time since I've watched the pilot movie. When I watched it after looking at the series, it felt a bit lackluster.
Of course.
And granted, that's because they've been getting better with storyboards, and the animation has gotten significantly better over time. Maybe not like extremely better through the first season, but they definitely. The first season was good. By season 2, and by halfway through season 2, at the very least, I was completely hooked and in love with this series. And that's the point I want to make about how things start out. When they announced that they were doing an animated Clone Wars series between episode 2 and 3, everyone was like, "No, we don't want any prequel shit. This is bullshit."
That's fucking great.
And by the end of it, everyone was bawling their eyes out because Clone Wars was going. So you know what?
And yeah. However, I understand why people would be crying over this, because I can understand. Again, I really want to just really hit this home because of the story. I understand why some people were a little thrown off. Right. My biggest problem though is, I think okay, so. My problem, when it comes to people's reactions about this movie, is that it really seemed like everyone, be they nerd like us, Star Wars nerd, you so more than I, obviously, you more so, but still Star Wars nerd, or even just a casual moviegoer that used to like Star Wars. It seemed like everyone. It seemed like a very cool thing to rail against this movie, and I was so confused because and you were too until I told you about it being in theaters, and then it started to come to us. This movie wasn't supposed to be in theaters. It's supposed to be very much like a TV movie, DVD, straight to DVD, straight to VHS kind of film. And I say VHS as if VHSs were around in 2008. But anyway, so it makes sense, and I think that this plot is very much like if this had aired on Cartoon Network as a pilot for, Clone Wars, I don't think it would have gotten shit on as much.
No.
However,
I definitely believe it would not have.
No. However, when Lucas, and that's why I said earlier, right, where I'm like, when it comes to certain production things, I'm like, I think we got to get them away, right? Get them away. How about we call the new Star Wars? Okay, we'll listen to the name. We might tweak it a little bit, or keep it, because sometimes he comes up with okay names, and then we're gonna get the fuck away from everything else. We're going to call the new Star Wars Gaga Goo Goo BB. All right. I think he just said the super cool Phantom Menace. Great. Okay. We got it. That's what he meant. That's what he fucking meant. No, but anyway, seriously. In all seriousness, though, right? His idea was, this is looking really good. Let's make this into a movie. And frankly, I got to be honest. I don't think I would, if I was in that position, where I was like, oh, my God, this is looking amazing. Can we try to make this a theatrical, thing? I think it was a good idea. The problem is that now people that weren't going to be reviewing this as some Cartoon Network special now have to get up. And granted, I don't want to sound pretentious in a way where we don't review Oscar-level movies. That's why we're so cool. Like, no, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you like a movie, you like a movie. You talk about why you like it, you dislike it, whatever, right? That's what we do here, right? I'm not going to sit here and be like, because we're not part of newspapers. We're so much better because online. Fuck that, right? But the problem is that people who do this, for like a living, right? Doing a lot of other types of movies, be they Oscar level, be they not, whatever movie might come out. Now this is part, a theatrical film. So they actually have to fucking review it. And then they're looking at this in the same lens they looked at 4, 5, 6, and 1 and 2, because up to this point, of course, only 2 was out. So of course, they're going to be like, we're Star Wars, we're Star Wars, entry ever into the franchise, and I'm like, and again, as I said earlier, I was like, slow your fucking roll, right? But if you're putting it on the same level as 4, 5, 6, 1, and 2, maybe. I mean, I still have very bad feelings about 1 and 2. But you know what? Yeah, this could be considered the worst.
Right.
But it's just kind of funny because I would never put it on that level. Why the fuck would anyone put it on that level? But you have to now that it's become, like, where it was made into a theatrical, like it was given a theatrical release. It hurts. Even though the movie made a lot of money, it made its budget. But a lot, like it made, I think, about maybe like 5 times its budget, which was like $8 million. So it made like, I think, 40 some odd million. So it did well. But it's, at least in its first week, it dropped far in its second week, and then people were like, "Oh my God, this is the worst ever." And it was like, guys, like it feels like, even though I understand, like everyone was upset after episode 1, but it feels like after episode 1, now the fans are like super, especially us included, by the way, are super fucking jaded.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, like, literally, it was like after episode 1, everyone was like, "This is gonna be so good," and then they saw it, and they were like, "What the fuck?" So, literally, until Clone Wars was there for them to be like, "Oh my God," they were literally sitting there like, "It's gonna be shit, and I'm never going to accept it, and it's not my canon." And then all of a sudden, it comes out, and they're just like crying. But they're like, "Oh no." But anyway, so yeah, it was just, it was just a strange situation, with like this movie, the way it came out and how it was done, because you even had Roger Ebert like, "Oh, it was just so cheap because they were trying to save money on the animation." It's like, no, Lucas even said, which is a weird sentence. Like Matt going with what George Lucas said, "Hey, look, man, that's the vision he wanted. You can dislike the vision, right? But he wanted the animation to look this way."
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say that budgetary concerns probably weren't in there, but if you were literally like, "Hey, let's make this theatrical," I don't know if you were caring about budget concerns as much.
Yeah.
Because to me, saying, "Let's make this theatrical," that's a lot of money, dude.
True.
To just go from like straight to DVD to just, "Yeah, we'll put it in theaters." Holy shit. All right. But anyway, now I just want to ask, how, like, do you feel any differently about like any of the characters, be they new or be they old? Like, did this, I guess, change how you feel about some of the characters, like Anakin? Introducing Ahsoka. Do you think she changed anything for the better or for the worse? I know you didn't like her in this movie originally. You told me, "Oh, she was annoying." Now, I expected a lot worse, and I didn't get that. So, have you changed your mind?
That's
Do you
why
still
I
agree?
said it. Because personally, no, she didn't really annoy that much. I said that to you I said that to you being from, that's what the fan base, or, what I heard a lot was like, "Oh, she's so fucking annoying, I can't stand her, snarky attitude and blah, blah, blah." It's like, well, A, she is a kid, and yeah, she's a Jedi, but at the same time.
Yeah.
But
because I got to be very real with you, man. Sorry to interrupt. 2 things. One, I don't think people realize, like, if they were kids, they would potentially like her character.
Right.
And and she's an insert for them, because guess what? Star Wars isn't always about you. When it was about you, you were their age. Also, and this is very important, I wouldn't shit on how Anakin was introduced in episode 1 so much if he didn't just grow up to be Hitler. Like, if he was just like in other words, you see like a young Han going around, like stealing stuff, like, "Oh, haha, that's so cute. He's gonna be, something big one day." Luke Skywalker when he's like 5. "Oh, that's so cute. He's gonna be Luke one day." Right? Depending on what canon you're looking at. Actually, he will be a Sith Lord. We're not looking at that canon.
Right.
We're not looking at Luke Sith Lord canon. We're looking at normal canon. But like, so if like Ahsoka like one day is just like, "And I destroyed the entire Empire," I'd be like, I helped the Empire destroy the rebels. I'd be like, no. But guess what? That would be gross because we're not seeing it in reverse, right? We're like, so me seeing her, I'm not as annoyed because she's a new character. So I'm like, cool, you're new, and I don't know you from episode 4, so you're probably going to die horribly. I have no idea what happens, by the way. I've never seen Clone Wars.
I have no idea.
Oh, shit. Yeah, no, I've never seen Clone Wars, so I'm just sitting back like, she was in episode 4, so get the incinerator ready. But anyway, so, yeah, all I know is she was, I can understand why some people are like, oh, she was a little bit annoying. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't think it was, I think that it was just a lot of angry people. This was a very angry time for Star Wars fans.
Yes.
And I feel like there was this, and I feel like this was a family-friendly movie that they didn't want.
I mean, that's funny because I would have said the same thing, but there were actually like 1 or 2 times in there where I realized, oh, like
well, the comedy was too family.
They did that because this was a theater release, huh? Because they could get
away
with that.
Well, oh, yes, you're right, yes. Although for straight to DVD, it would have gotten it too. It would have gotten censored on Cartoon Network. But anyway, here's the way I look at it, right? The comedy parts, because you're very right. There was a lot of stuff where like, die, you're going to die. I'm going to kill you. A lot of that shit, right?
However, not even that. I'm thinking of one specific scene, but I'll let you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, my whole thing is like when the comedy came up, where it's just like you woke the baby. I'm sure so many people in theaters were like, "Boo! This isn't episode 5."
Yeah, pretty much.
And we're kind of foaming at the mouth. Granted, if I was 13, I would have fucking hated this movie. But, and that's not saying that everyone's a teenager, but like, I will admit that if this was right after, if I saw this after episode 2, then like, what the fuck is this? Like, I was just saying that I was 13 at the time. No, actually, I was 16 at the time. Oh my God, I may have been worse. What the fuck is this? So I wouldn't have liked it. I have to admit that.
Honestly, if you want to if you want to look at it as a comparison like that, like, oh, this is coming out after episode 2. If I had to think about it, well, I mean, maybe not as a kid, but maybe still a little bit. All right, I'll put it this way: Anakin actually feels like a likable character now, and is not crying and whining and having very shitty dialogue. He's actually kind of cool. He's a show-off, but he can back it up. He's actually doing crazy-ass stuff, and it's cool.
Yeah, I try not to laugh.
They take the best parts from episode 2, which was basically the ending and the giant fight scene, and sprinkled that throughout the whole thing. It's like, we actually have some cool droid fights and battles.
Yeah, yes. Just Ahsoka, man, just... So, the sand, am I right? And he's like, the sand. And I'm like, oh my God, no.
I hate sand.
If anyone doesn't know, there's been a lot of memes going around. This is one meme going around where the lightsaber fight with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku. Every time the sabers hit, instead of it being the sound, it's Anakin saying, "I don't like sand." So when they clash, it's like, I don't like sand.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking so well done. Sorry, so like, he's just talking about sand, and I'm like, please, is he gonna say it? Is he gonna say it?
Yeah.
But is he gonna fucking say it?
Of course, Matt's the one who showed this to me, everyone.
Yeah. But anyway, I
had to be brought to my attention.
And it's crazy too, because it's not like like Christensen is a bad actor.
No.
Although it's very interesting who they got to return and who didn't return. Like, the amount of cast members that returned, I was like, well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you got I think it was Tom Kane for Yoda. Let me just make sure I'm correct here. You end up getting yes, Tom Kane is Yoda again. You end up fucking getting Christopher Lee back as Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson is Mace Windu again. Anthony Daniels is there to be expected, I just imagined. Like, I'll read a novelization, and there'll be like a button, and I'm like, what's that button? And it'll just fucking be Anthony Daniels' lines. So, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm like, yeah, that's him. And just looking at, and anyone who it's funny because you had someone like James Arnold Taylor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And he technically is obviously a sound-alike. He isn't either actor for Obi-Wan, right, in the live-action series. But James Arnold Taylor was Obi-Wan in the 2003 Clone Wars series.
Mm.
So that's what's interesting. In other words, they ended up getting him back, and of course he stayed on for the entirety of the Clone Wars. So I think it's really cool to just be like, oh shit, we ended up getting this guy back too. Oh fuck yeah. But I think that's really nice, in terms of continuity, because there are some characters that are here that were also in the 2003, adaptation of the Clone Wars as well.
Right.
But I have to say, though, this was an amazing concept, and while we shit on Lucas for a lot of things, even though I'm not saying he was in charge of every single little thing and I mean, and not only the special, I am referring to the Clone Wars overall, but I still think it's a great concept, and I'm really happy they went with this, because there was just such untapped potential. When you're like, hey, there's a Clone Wars. Because the thing is, even if it was like, oh, no, the movie started in the middle of the Clone Wars, even though I remember on the podcast, I said I would have liked that. Right?
Yeah.
But that is, of course, assuming. Yes, exactly. Well, no, because that is assuming that, no one's really going to see the animated series, or it technically doesn't, it's not the movies. So it's technically canon, but it's not the movies. So, you want to see the movies, and you want to sit there and be like, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Right? It's hard to sit there and be like, all right, marathon guys, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, a 6-season series called The Clone Wars, then 3. Matt, what the fuck are you doing? And then, by the way, episode 7, also Rogue One. And then, Matt, calm down.
Right. And now we have
Maybe
Rebels,
we should remove
too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. And then we'll sprinkle Rebels somewhere in between all of it. Don't worry, guys. We got it down. It's hard to do both. So, So I have a funny thing to bring up to you. Holy shit, this is fucking hilarious. So episode 2 was a prequel and released as standalone to tie in to the movie that is also a prequel that was released in theaters to tie in with Clone Wars.
Oh, God.
It's literally it's fucking tying itself in to tie itself into another.
Yeah.
But anyway. So I enjoyed the cast, I think is what I want to say. I will admit though, they didn't have to work with mouth flaps, but I do think that some people were a little bit more unfamiliar with voice work than others. So Tom Kane done voice work a lot, been a big part of our childhood, right? Tom Kane has been so many different voices. He was not only Yoda, but he was also the narrator, and he was another general that was talking to everyone. Right?
Right.
Yeah, and fucking, let me just find the exact name so that I'm not the asshole here. He was he was Admiral Yularen.
Yeah.
Right? So if you didn't pick up on it, the narrator and Yularen are basically nearly the same fucking person. Mm-hmm. And that's also Yoda. So it was very interesting because, Tom Kane, huge part of our childhoods, right? So it's like, oh, Tom Kane, used to this, right? Obviously good. D. Bradley Baker, who was Captain Rex, and Commander Cody, and he was some clone troopers. D. Bradley Baker, if many of you might remember from, I know that you remember Tristan when I threw it at you, but number 4 from Codename Kids Next Door, that's also D. Bradley Baker, as well as the voice of Klaus from American Dad.
Right.
Which is the fish.
Yes.
The German fish is also him.
Yes. God.
He's also a German
fish. I'm just linking all 3 of those characters together and going, what the fuck?
Yes. My point in all this is that I think those 2 are really good. They obviously, are great behind a microphone. I don't feel the same way about Samuel L. Jackson. It felt like at some points he was struggling to get words out because it's just like, y'all, it's like you guys aren't real fucking people. This is a microphone. Right?
Right.
That's how I felt.
That just goes to show you that, different forms of acting you do need to have different forms of training for.
Exactly, or at least experience. So someone like Christopher Lee, you sit back and you're like, he knows. He's good. Like at the time he was in his
Christopher Lee
80s,
did a little
he's
bit
good.
of everything in his life, so.
Exactly. You're like, he's fucking fine. He's fucking fine. So for me, I'm like, yeah, no, he's good. Oh, apparently, that's interesting. So he was in he was also in some other, oh, wow, yeah, I'm the dick. Yeah, no, he's been in enough. Like, I know, like, we laughed when we said it. But no, like, he's been in The Last Unicorn, both in the English and German dubs. Don't ask. He's been in both. He was in, the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Yeah. But it's so interesting, too. The guy who took over for his voice, who Count Dooku in the Clone Wars, Corey Burton, also took over his roles in Kingdom Hearts as well. So, yeah. Yeah, so basically my whole point is he knew what the fuck he was doing behind the microphones. That's why he sounded fucking on point.
Yep.
Like hearing Christopher Lee, I was like, nothing's wrong with this.
Nope.
Right? Like he just sounded great. Yeah.
Yep.
But definitely I think Samuel L. Jackson struggled a little bit. Obviously they didn't bring back Christensen for Anakin, so, Matt Lanter, who played him, did well. Right?
Yes. Oh,
he's Ashley
honestly,
Eckstein.
I love him.
What?
I love him as Anakin Skywalker.
He's a very interesting Anakin. The look that he has, like as a character model, and his voice, I was kind of sitting there, and I'm like, it sounds like Ashton Kutcher is Anakin Skywalker. Like in an alternate universe, this would be Ashton Kutcher's like breakout role as like a serious actor, being Anakin Skywalker. It was just very strange. Like I heard that, and I was like, he's not bad. It was just like that's all I heard, and I was like, I see.
I mean, he's grown on me like so much throughout the last few years watching the whole series. Like it's sad because I like, I didn't hate Christensen, but like I can't look at anyone and see Anakin and not have it be him now.
Of course, yeah. Which is hard for, it's just hard. It's hard sometimes, right? Sometimes it's hard.
And then I'll go back and watch the movies, and I'll be like, oh, right.
Yes. Ian Abercrombie, who was actually Palpatine, was not a bad sound-alike, like in some ways.
Yeah.
It was a strange thing. Like obviously you're like, that's not him, but you can see it being him.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because you
said
even
that
asked
to me
like before. We talked about it a little bit. You asked me, so does Palpatine? Like a few characters, like do they sound the same? And I'm like, most of them, yeah. Some of them are different people, but they do a good job with a voice for that character that it works. And Palpatine is one of those examples.
Yeah, because when I asked you, I didn't realize it was a theatrical release, so I assumed nobody was the same. Because just like, that's what TV shows do. You rarely ever bring back the same people.
Yeah.
Right? Other than Anthony Daniels, who's contractually obligated to do this until his death and potentially post.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
They're just going to get him to record every single word in the Merriam Dictionary. And they're just going to, combine them when they need to.
Okay.
But they already have him on it. But, so, yeah, it's just, this – but, by the way, so, I asked how you felt about because you said, oh, yeah, when it comes to, Ahsoka, you were like, oh, yeah, she is annoying to other people, right, at least in this incarnation.
Yes.
What's your take on it?
Well, let me make this perfectly clear. If you don't love her, if you don't love Ahsoka by the, I'll give
end
it.
of the
I'll
show.
give it. No, not even that.
Okay.
I'd say I would say season 2, halfway through season 2, but I'll push it to 3 just to be, well-rounded about it. If you don't love her character by then, you're doing it wrong. Then this is not the series for you. Go watch something else. I'm sorry. Because she's an amazing character, and she's probably one of the characters, obviously she was introduced in this series, but she grows the most throughout the entire series. And you basically get to watch her grow up from being the youngling, the Padawan,
yes.
to being a
Yes.
knight herself. Although
yes,
I don't
but again,
actually know if she was ever knighted.
But not talking overall. I'm talking about in this special.
No,
alone,
she
'cause that's
wasn't.
what we're doing the
Never
podcast
mind.
on.
Yes, I know.
Okay, but in this special alone, because again, I know I've talked about some things like, oh, it's a nice concept, but like just we're only talking about the special right now. So
I just wanted to make that
alone,
clear off the bat.
Okay, but
yes,
what's your
in
take
this
on her
special,
then?
Yes, in
Mhm.
this special, she has her quips where she's annoying, but she also has those points where, because there was, at first, she's being a bit disrespectful and she's being a little childish, but at the same merit, in a few scenes afterward, she's starting to say something, and Anakin looks at her like, I swear to God, if you sass me again, and she's like, no, I'm actually looking forward to learning from your experience. Like, I'm going to watch you, and I'm going to learn from it. And he's like, oh, that's actually very good. Let's go do that.
What I found funny
it's like,
is that
she's not just a mouth. It's like, yes, she is learning. So yeah, she's a little quirky, but give her a chance. Like,
yes. What I find funny is that it's kind of just like, she's super duper annoying, she never stops talking, and frankly, she doesn't really listen to authority. So she's like Anakin. What? Yeah, but he's going to be Vader one day, man.
And
no, I'm kidding. Everyone
point.
hated that in Anakin, too. Everyone hated it in him, too.
That's the scene that they have together where they're sitting after they take down the shield generator, and she's like, oh, he hates me. And, he looks over and he's like, you would have never made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan. She's like, well, I'm getting sent back. And he's like, but maybe you'll make it as mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you say whatever you want. Like, oh, cutesy shit, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I don't know. I enjoy that because it shows you, yes, they have some parallels. And, maybe she's not as much of a show-off as he is, but at the same time, she can keep up with him, and they can both learn from each other. And that's the point. This is as much an exercise for Ahsoka having a master, as well as Anakin having to learn to teach. It's a lesson in patience for both of them.
Anakin was so pissed. He's just like, you fucking plan this, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's
at
just like,
the beginning, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. It's like, yeah, you fucking did. Don't even.
And that's the dynamic that I love between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and I feel like, throughout the series, and, even in here, you have those little moments where Anakin looks at him like, it's like, God damn it, Obi-Wan, you did that on purpose. He's like, oh, no, I wouldn't do that. And they have a very nice comedic duo together, and that was what I loved out of Episode 3. Whereas Episode 2, they were just at each other's throats the entire time.
I love you so much.
I'm glad.
Because I why I love you? I know what parts you're referencing in 3, but my only, the first thing that comes to my head, you're just like, I love the comedic duo, the thing going on. Literally, I have the higher ground.
Oh, my God.
Fucking Anakin's burning fucking in lava. It's so fucking hilarious. Classic comedy.
Fuck you.
A family movie for the ages. His wife died in childbirth. Anyways. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I meant at the beginning of the movie, but whatever.
I know you did. So I'm saying, I know what parts you meant, but my brain immediately went to the death, and I'm just like,
because you're
comedy.
a horrible person, that's why.
You know what? I have to say something, though, by the way. So, because I mentioned way earlier, right? We have the people who were sitting there like, oh, comedy, it's too stupid, it's too much. And again, it's comedy that I like, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it isn't kind of dumb to be like, oh, you woke the baby. I know. It's just I find that funny. Right?
Yeah.
However, you then had another side where it was moms complaining. There's so much violence in this movie. Were you not thrown off by the phrase wars in Star Wars or the second war?
Right.
In Clone Wars.
Or the picture that's been going around recently. It's Star Wars, finally Rogue One is the first Star Wars movie to admit that it's about war. And it just shows the opening title for, A New Hope, Civil War throughout the galaxy, opening to episode 3 literally starts with the word war! ! Point.
Also, the name of the thing is called Star Wars, which is
Dear God.
Yeah. No, but from what I've heard about Rogue One, I still yet to see it. I've heard that they delve into war a lot more than they have in other films, and again, this isn't counted as a fucking film, so this doesn't count. So that they didn't delve into it. Arguably, the one we're doing right now doesn't count as like a theatrical film. But anyway, I feel like it was just like it was by making a theatrical film, you just got too much attention onto it. And apparently because Lucas wanted to do it so last minute, where he was like, no, we have to make it a film, guys. He didn't actually get to talk to some of his advertisers, the people that will usually market with Lucas. Like when you look at some companies like I believe it was Burger King and Coca-Cola, they didn't even know it was coming to theaters. And McDonald's finally got toys to put out to promote the thing for a month after the movie already went to theaters.
Right.
I'm sitting here, I'm like,
I would say
it's a miracle it made that much money.
Yeah. I would say that it probably would have been better, accepted if it wasn't a theatrical release. Because, like I said, I watched the actual series before I saw this movie. I could basically tell you at what points that if this was released on TV, I could tell you exactly what points it would be cut into 3 episodes. Because that's how Clone Wars, the animated series, works. Generally, there's a 3-episode arc, and it tells a story. And once those 3 episodes are done, they beginning of the story, peak, and then the climax, and they wrap it up into a nice 3-episode package, and then you go on to another story. So it's not trying to jam an entire story into 30 minutes, so they have to cut down on stuff. But it's not you sitting there for 3 hours watching it. Because that's the thing, like as a movie, it did feel like it kind of, I'm not going to say like certain scenes or anything, but just, it was only an hour-and-a-half movie, but like it felt in certain spots where I'm like, this is still happening. Kind of thing. Right.
So you think it dragged out. So like if it was cut into 3 episodes, not even just put on TV or on DVD, but if it was even cut into a 3-episode format like the rest of Clone Wars, which arguably it makes sense because again, that's how they wrote Clone Wars. So, starting that process here, right? It's that they had it all into one
went
movie.
Over better. Yeah.
Right. So
because then it would give you
because
that's what Clone Wars always kind of did for me. Like I would watch it on a was it a weekly basis? I guess at that time it was a weekly basis, and it was 3-part stories. So granted, there were weeks where it was like, if it wasn't that exciting, I guess, of a story arc, it was kind of boring. But there were plenty of arcs that were like, I couldn't wait until next week to see how the hell they're going to get through this, or fix this, or do this, that, or the other thing.
Right. So in something like this, which potentially to you is more of a boring arc, it would have been better as cut into 3 parts instead of getting it all in one lump sum, especially put into theaters.
Right.
Now, what's interesting is this was actually, this is funny. This shouldn't be an interesting tidbit simply because, George Lucas is behind it, but apparently this was let me find the exact, I just want to be clear about the exact name of the film. Oh, yes. The movie Shogun's Shadow. Apparently, story of kidnapped Hutt and everything was inspired by that Sonny Chiba samurai film, which I've yet to see, but now that I realize it's Sonny Chiba and, samurai, I'm kind of in. So I'm going to try to find Shogun's Shadow. Maybe we'll do that on a Friday Night Movies episode in the future. But, because I know for you, well, you like samurai, so
yeah, fuck
Japanese. So yeah, but it's just very interesting. What?
Nothing.
But I didn't hear what you just said, and probably
I said, "Look who's talking."
Correct. So, but yeah, so I feel like that's another thing that maybe didn't cross over as well, because to us at least, this is something that's been done a lot. It's funny too. and something like this is usually done in a more of a less dramatic like a setting, where usually it's just like, oh no, someone's baby has been taken. Where's the baby? Like it's been done on Friends. Where's the baby?
Right.
And it didn't end in Galactic War. So
right.
Like last I checked, Friends did not end in Galactic War. So
and
losing the baby plot.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. Like I don't mind that plot whatsoever as a plot device, as a story. That would be fine. I think it just kind of ruins Jabba the Hutt in a way. Because, I'm sorry, but at no point are you ever supposed to look at Jabba the Hutt and say, oh, you know what, he's a kind of an okay guy. No.
No. But, like, think of it like this, right? Think of it like this. Hitler liked animals.
Yes, but you don't give Jabba the Hutt his little pumpkin baby bear and say, you know, the intergalactic crime lord, oh, you guys have to help me get my son back, my little baby. It's like, I'm not really mad at the sense that Jabba the Hutt has kids. That would make sense. He's a criminal organization. He's probably going to want somebody to take over the business at some point. That's fine. But when you put him in the position of, I'm the scared parent who needs his baby saved, granted he sent out his own bounty hunters, but when you put him in that position, he looks like a victim, and it just screws with me, because you're not supposed to ever look at Jabba and be like, oh, he got his baby back, that's so happy. It's like, no, he is the virtual embodiment of criminal underworld organization. He's not supposed to get
this wrong. I think you're looking at this wrong. And I hate to say that, but I have to be very honest. I think you're looking at it wrong. We're not supposed to be looking at it like, oh my God, thank goodness he got his baby back. It's like, oh, thank goodness they can fucking do trades, and thank goodness. Well, it's funny. We can't say thank goodness Anakin isn't dead, but we can say, well, thank goodness R2 didn't die in there. Think about it, right? Because it's funny. Anakin and Ahsoka, and I'm just like, fans did not want them to live. I don't know if fans at the time wanted them to live, but still, like, it's kind of like all the other things that, because not like Jabba was like, please bring me back my baby. It's kind of like, you're not going to be able to fucking trade here. There's a chance I'll become a separatist, and my God, I'm going to love killing you all. Like, It's not like, please, I need my baby back. Like, that's not what was going on at all. So, like, the only thing we're supposed to be awing at is the baby itself. Because look at this little thing. Look at your book. Now, I have a serious question for you. Would you? But I have a serious question for you. It's on my screen right now. So I'm like, oh, look at you. I'm confused about something.
Okay.
So, Jabba has a kid, right? And Jabba is not, like, this is the same Jabba we're going to see in episodes 5 and 6?
Yes, and in 1.
No. I'm just confused, because then what happens to his kid?
Yeah, that too.
Oh, wait, is that a plot line that I shouldn't be referencing, or?
No, it's just, I don't know, Matt. Literally,
are you sure that the kid isn't the Jabba we know, or?
Maybe he is. Who the fuck knows? I doubt it, but who the fuck knows?
Just asking because, like, it wouldn't be the first time we've met, Okay.
I think his kid, you see him maybe once or twice more throughout the series, and it's just a quick cameo. It's not even a plot. It's just, he's there in Jabba's chamber in the background somewhere.
Cool. Yeah, no. That's funny. We haven't watched the newer updates of 6. I bet you if we did, we'd fucking find the kid.
Oh my God! Don't do that.
You're so mad, even though I bet you I'm right.
Stop that.
You want to know what came on my screen the second I said that? What? One of the fucking droids getting droids getting thrown off the fucking building, saying, "Why?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I fucking love. By the way, their comedy, I will never hate their comedy. It's always the funniest. Where it's just like, where it's like, this is what I have to say. No, shut up. I am in charge. And it's just like, you both have like the same voice-ish. But it's just like,
yeah.
I am in charge of this. I am the commander. Like, I don't know why. Just like, they're always funny to me. Probably
I have the
because
yellow
of the
coloration
voice,
on my head. That means I'm in charge.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. So for like, it's just like
that's literally how they tell them apart. But
I know, but they're barely any different. This is great.
Yeah.
So yeah. But oh, by the way, I really like the voice for Padme.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like I really. What? Are you?
No, I was almost going to be like, that's not. No, wait. Yes, that is. I was thinking because I'm thinking, Amidala, and I'm like, yes, Padme's her first name. God fucking damn it.
I love it. It's not Padme, it's Amidala. Correct and wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here's something interesting. Not only was she Padme, and she reprised her role, of course, for the Clone Wars series. She's also Numa, by the way. I don't know who that is, but she's Numa. I would like to mention
another character
that here. What?
Another character you see later in the series, I believe.
Well, I mean, yes, I can gauge that.
Okay.
Here's what's crazy though. But here's the thing. Why I'm like freaking out. She's also been Leia a lot. Like she was Leia in the Force Unleashed game. She was Leia in both games.
Right.
She's been in a lot of the Star Wars video games randomly. She was April O'Neil in the 2013 TMNT game. That's funny. But right. Some of the people from this series reprised their roles for Disney Infinity 3.0. So she was Padme in Disney Infinity,
right,
as well as the guy who played Matt something or other. I'll get his name in a second. But Matt something or other is now his official name until I find it. He also played Anakin again. Matt Lanter played Anakin again in Disney Infinity 3.0. Like, I think that's really cool that they're actually reprising their roles, years later. Fucking Disney Infinity was in 2015.
Right.
But yeah, so what was I? Yeah, so we were talking about the Jabba's kid. So yeah, I just get confused because I know like with this timeline stuff when they introduce new things, I'm like, so is that one like the son or something or what? It's like introduces Boba Fett. No, that one's his dad. The fat man isn't the fat man yet.
Oh God.
That's what I'm saying, like shit like that. So I'm like, is that really like Jabba? And from the looks of it, apparently is Jabba.
Yeah.
It's just that in this animated series, he looks so fucking old.
Jabba.
And I know I get.
There you go.
They're a different species and all, but like he looks so old that I'm just like, if he died and his son became that Hutt, I wouldn't be fucking surprised. But that's clearly not what happened. Just his son never appeared again.
Right. Pretty much.
At least not in the show or in any of the movies. However, look at that expanded universe.
Oh God.
I don't know. I don't know about it. I feel like it would though. His son has like an 8-book anthology.
Okay. All right.
No, he doesn't.
No. Boba Fett does, but he does not.
That makes sense. Boba Fett only has 8. I would assume Boba Fett would have a lot more.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, but anywho, so anything you want to say before we wrap up the show? I'm kidding. No, we're not. Not yet. We can't do this just yet. There's too much to talk about. But speaking of too much to talk about, anything else you do want to mention though? Like anything does pop out to you about, because I know we've talked about the characters, we talked about, we've talked about, Ahsoka, we've talked about the baby. So here's the thing: do you think the baby is adorable? This matters, everyone. Wow.
It's weird because yes, it's a small
the baby's
child.
Weird.
Yes, it's weird.
Wow.
You know what? Yeah, I'm sticking with that. It's a fucking hut. I'm sorry.
It's
but
nice
like,
to know that a cultural anthropologist like you thinks that other cultures are weird.
Matt,
Yeah.
you really doing this to me right now?
Yeah.
This is a fictional character in a movie. If there was a giant slug gangster in front of me in real life, you bet your ass I'd mind my P's and Q's, because, dear God, that would be horrifying. But, seeing as how he's not...
That's like saying that the huts aren't real is like saying that all those civilizations in the Indiana Jones movies that we did podcasts on aren't real either.
Oh, my God.
You're a racist. I love. It's just nothing you can do.
We took turns together saying why those civilizations weren't even a correct depiction of what they were supposed to be depicting.
And now you're saying they aren't even real because fiction and movies, right?
I'm going to murder you.
This is the worst thing I've ever. This is the worst thing that's ever happened.
Honestly,
there is no logic.
I think we need to have a murder count for me on how many times I've said that to you on this show. Can if there's any fans out there that would want take the time, send us an email of my murder count for Matt, please. I would love it if you did that.
Those guys on the radio at gmail.com. Look, all I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time,
but it's such a cute baby.
Ridiculous
you sound right
baby.
now. I'm sure that's the whole point. That's the whole. There was never any logic in that.
I sound like Anakin right now. It's like, it's a slimy hut. I'm a racist because he enslaved my mother, and she's dead. Blah blah blah. But Ahsoka's like, why do you hate him so much? It's not like he killed your family.
Yeah, no. Anakin sounds worse because he's in that universe. So he's like, I never like a hut. And I'm like, oh, damn, dude. But, I'm fucking with you. They're not real. Jesus fucking Christ. There was no logic in any of that.
Yes, but in this day and age, you calling me a racist on the air is not going to help me any.
Really?
I know it doesn't matter in the long run, but at the same time, we're playing with fire here.
So it's because I'm Hispanic? You fucking racist.
Matt Marrero, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a hand. Let's give him a long applause there. I'll give everyone a minute.
What? Oh, because I'm a lazy Hispanic? You fucking racist.
All right, now you're putting words in my mouth.
I need that extra hand. I need that extra hand.
Oh my God.
Fucking racist. I can't believe this right now.
You know what? You got
in a galaxy far away.
In a galaxy far away,
Tristan
I
was
would
fired.
just lead the assault on killing all huts in the galaxy. It would make the galaxy a better place. There, you happy now? You got.
I'm going to talk to HR about this.
You should.
Which is just me in another suit.
Exactly.
That's how understaffed we are. Listen, man. Listen. The baby's adorable. You can disagree. It's okay. We can have different opinions. Let's put this joke to rest. It's okay.
Yes,
okay.
I was happy that they got the baby home and the baby didn't die. If I was holding him and looking at him, and I'd be like, it's, please take it away.
Yes. Oh, correct. He smells like hell, and it's not even because he's a baby. It's because apparently huts just smell.
Exactly. Yes. They secrete slime all the time. And
right.
It smells
makes sense.
Fucking horrendous.
Right.
Why do you
Correct.
think Jabba's palace is always underground and steamy and shit? It's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
So here's the thing too, by the way. So apparently the baby was sick, which was also sad. Never mentioned what kind of sick though, but I guess they're not doctors, so they wouldn't know. But it was kind of weird. Where it was like, the baby is sick, and I'm like, all right, you're really turning this into a sitcom plot without realizing it.
Yeah, that was actually really funny, actually, when she goes into the back and sees, Anakin's like, see if you can, call up something that'll help him or whatever, and, there's a medical protocol droid recording. And he says, "Oh yeah, just give it, the magic medicine pill. Give it a medical booster." It's like, well, probably an immunity booster or an immune system booster to help his natural immune system fight off the infection, disease, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that it's just a general medical booster, like it'll help do anything. It can even regrow hands. Just hear Luke, damn it!
My God.
But the ending of the recording goes, and if you have any further complications, please call a real doctor. And then it ends, and I'm like, did you guys just not notice, or was that supposed to be was that a joke?
Yeah. One thing I find interesting, and I know, and I guess, I don't know if we really talked about it too much during episodes like 1, 2, and 3 when we did the podcasts, but now that we have the chance to, because, this expands upon, the middle of 2 and 3, it's very interesting to have the phrase, like dissidents not be good people. And what I mean by that is, you have 4, 5, and 6, and it's like, yes, the rebels against the power, right? Fight the power. And here it's just like, no, the power is good, actually.
Right.
Like, these people that are going against the power, they are evil. And you're like, yeah, wait, no, what?
Wait, what?
No, it's really funny, where it's just like, oh, no, Count Dooku wants to get them to turn away from the Order. That sounds evil. What? The Order? No, it's the Order of Jedi. All right, that sounds nicer. Jedi sound nice. Yes, it's just a collection of us. Okay. And we're like a federation. Okay, but do you make decisions? Yes, so like you're an empire. No! We would never call ourselves an empire.
Yeah, they basically have a, I guess they have a Senate of their own. Like they're a legitimate government while not being a legitimate government.
I know. Yeah, no. It's hard to call yourself an empire when you have like a legitimate government, like a Senate to vote and shit, and and people to get together and actually like you say like, okay,
Dooku,
so yeah.
Dooku is their chancellor, and that's something that they explore later on in the series. Like there are actual people on the other end of the separatist army. It's not just droids. And it gets really, like, gray area, and it's like, oh, there's actually people who are, just regular people. They just don't agree with the Republic. And granted, seeing as how we have Palpatine in power, I can't necessarily blame them, because I know the evil, horrible secret!
Exactly, but no one else does at this point.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, other than Dooku, of course. Duh.
Yeah.
All right, and at this point, it's only Dooku that knows, like, oh, yeah, no, that guy, he's with us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I do think that this was an interesting plot. I think now it's time to wrap things up. We've done it. Like, we can't go anywhere else. I don't think we can go anywhere else. Unless I think you want to really say, I think we can just kind of wrap things up and say that it was as bad as, okay, if anyone claimed this was the best thing ever, I'd be like, or this is, one of the best installments, or this was a great way to start the Clone Wars, I would be like, no. Right? No.
Yeah.
But like saying this is like the second coming of the Antichrist, it's kind of like, no. No, not that either.
It's just, like I said before, it's kind of lackluster compared to the rest of the series. And when you start watching the other, Clone Wars, the series, and when we start actually doing cast on that, I'm sure you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, no, the way I look at this, man, the way I look at this, man, is kind of like white bread, like a plain old white bread. No additives, just plain white bread. Sure, you can eat it. Sure, you can be like, you know what, yeah, I liked it. But there needs to be some other stuff onto it.
But it's not great.
And
yeah,
no, it's not a sandwich. And from the way you describe it, Clone Wars is a sandwich.
Yes.
Where this is just two pieces of white bread put onto each other.
Right.
Maybe put some mayo on that. Oh, great, it tastes like mayo. Good shit. Now where the fuck is the rest? I need the whole sandwich. But yeah, I don't think it was shit though. And I have to admit though, it is very hard for me to look at Anakin any differently because, again, you've heard me in episodes 1, 2, and 3 just be like, see, he's evil and everything. But giving him someone like her.
I want to say that this series will change your mind on that. Like, you will see what I've said. This is the Anakin that should have been in the film to get you to actually like his character.
Mm-hmm. Well, because the thing is, for me, man, you give him, Ahsoka, that grounds him more. And that's something that he didn't have in 2 and 3. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right, that's my take on it. So they really didn't, because they didn't throw, her in there, really fucked it up. I think, fucked up people having to, trying to like him.
Right.
So, anyway, that's just my take on it anyway. But also the scripting, and, again, episodes 1, 2, and 3, you can hear us talk about it in older, episodes of Star Wars Wednesday that we have either on our YouTube channel, which is Those Guys on the Radio, or through our Blog Talk Radio, which is also Those Guys on the Radio. And, and by the way, we're going to wrap up the show here, and I'll mention all of our other social media links at the end of the show. So anything else you want to say before we finish?
Well, it was funny. Like, one of the things that I really like, and it appears more and more throughout the series, the old bucket of bolts spice freighter that they pick up, the Twilight, they actually continue to use that throughout the series, and I just really enjoyed the ship design, so I was kind of happy to see that it stuck around.
Something I also enjoy about it, by the way, I really enjoy that when it was going through space or whatever, it looked like it was going through, like, Doctor Who, level.
Hyperspace?
Yes, like Doctor Who hyperspace.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I was like,
Doctor Who would be, it goes through space and time. Star Wars is you travel through hyperspace.
Oh, I know, but it still looks like space and time, though.
Right.
Like the design is clearly inspired by Doctor Who, and we've seen this in not only in Star Wars before and some of their special effects, but also in the Family Guy special Blue Harvest, the one that was a parody of Episode 4 that we also did on a Star Wars Wednesday. It was very they also parodied Doctor Who when they went into hyperspace. That's my whole thing. Like, it actually kind of looks like them going through space and time, which is funny to me.
Right.
So, yeah. But they keep the old bucket of bolts.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And I did enjoy the lightsaber duels that Dooku and Anakin had, and Obi-Wan and Ventress had.
Yes. But I do admit, I think people were right. People were like, oh, the fights were a little bit more choppy because of the animation. 100% agree with them on that.
Okay.
So that's like the one thing that I'm like, you know what, everyone? I agree with you. Like, when there were fights
better.
And they were, yes, of course, well, obviously. But yeah, so, and that's that?
Yeah, I think that's about everything.
All right. So we want to thank you all for listening in, as always. Very long episode today, but you know what? We got it done. We did it. We talked about the series. The whole series. There's no more. This is the beginning and the end. No, but we talked about it. We talked about the movie, the pilot movie, right? Which, it's funny. It's usually somewhat like the reverse, I think. We're like, oh, I very rarely hear like the phrase like, oh, it was the movie that inspired the show, and that was the plan. Yes. All right. The movie that very rarely is that the case, but it's the movie that, or at least that it's the plan that the movie inspires the show. But it was the movie that inspired the show, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, 2008. And, I want to thank you all for watching, for listening in, as always. Maybe watching if you're looking at us through our YouTube channel, Those Guys on the Radio. But we also have our YouTube channel, as I mentioned earlier, Those Guys Play, where we have a lot of our Let's Plays. We have Season 3 coming up in a few days for Those Guys Play, every year, or we try every year to have a new season of Those Guys Play. And it's coming out in a few days. And you're going to see Tristan and I next week, not this one coming up, the week after, playing a really cool game that we love from our childhood that we're not going to talk about right now, but you'll get to see it next week. So, definitely, keep up with our YouTube channels. Also check out our merchandise, which is available on thoseguysradio.tumblr.com/merchandise, and our eBay, which is Those Guys Radio. Free shipping on all items. So, and a lot of T-shirts there, a lot of different designs. If you're a fan of pro wrestling, if you're a fan of, the video games that we've played, or if you're a fan of some of the stuff that we've said on the podcasts, a lot of fun stuff that you can get through our, through our merchandise. So, yeah, you can do that. You can also check out, by the way, if you want to listen to us, a lot of our, because we've had a lot of different podcasts, right, over the years. We've been doing this for a while now, over 500 shows overall, not just Star Wars Wednesday. But if you want to listen to any of those shows, I mentioned earlier about Blog Talk Radio, which is those guys on the radio. You could also listen to us through iTunes by searching up those guys. Or you can go to our social media pages and just follow us, right? We have our Facebook, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio, our Twitter, which is @ThoseGuysRadio, and our Instagram, which is /ThoseGuysOnTheRadio. You can get any new updates, any new cons that we're going to, anything like that, through our social media accounts. So we want to thank you all. As always, want to mention our Patreon quickly. If you want to support us through there, you can support us on Patreon. You can donate any amount that you want to. Our Patreon, by the way, being TG Productions. But depending on what tier you donate to, you can actually get special shout-outs from us to you, right? Either shout-outs where, you can be considered a sponsor and we'll, say like, hey, so-and-so sponsored the show. Or you can actually, depending on the show, by the way, it could be a podcast, it could be a Let's Play. Or what could also happen as well is you can actually, depending on the tier, say, hey, I'd like you to do this podcast, I'd like you to do this Let's Play, something like that. And we can talk, right, about maybe if you want us to do a specific movie or TV show or concept, or when it comes to Let's Plays, a specific video game with a specific host. A lot of different combinations that can happen, and a lot of cool stuff can come from it. Right? So, you guys help us, and we'll give right back to you. So we want to thank you all, and we love you guys, and we hope you have a good night, and we hope that you enjoyed the show, even with our little detour in the middle there, where I was ribbing with Tristan a little bit too much. So I apologize, Tristan. I really do. If you felt offended, anyone home felt offended, I apologize. Did not mean to go that far. I thought you would have. I'm really sorry. But yeah. So thank you all. Love you guys. Happy you listened in. And say good night, Tristan.
Good night, everyone. May the Force be with you.
And also with you.